I've got an interesting one here. 2012, I think this is. Dodge Grand Caravan. Taking a listen. It's got the 3.6, and the owner thinks it needs a water pump. It sure sounds like it. Listen. I know it's hard to pick it up. So I've got it jacked up and trying to take this inner fender out. So some plastic pieces, this one too, this shield, a couple clips, and we can access the belt. And the plan is take the accessory belt off. Actually, I'm using a door panel tool that I use quite a bit. Let's take a look and see if we can get these pieces off. I'll put a link in the description for this tool and the other tools I use. Once we get at this, the plan is to take the accessory belt off, and then I'm just, with the engine not running, of course, and I'm going to hand spin the alternator, see if that makes any funny noises, the water pump, see if that makes any funny noises, and narrow down the power steering pump, because it's something that's spinning that's making the noise. It sounds like a bearing or something's out of it. And, that way we'll know for sure. He was like, order the pump. It's like, no, let's take a look. Some Phillips screws here on this inner fender lining. Get those out as well. And, we'll see how hard this is to take apart. Hopefully it's not too bad. What's interesting, though, is it's not what you think. I thought this was going to be a really big job, but there's a surprise coming up. Either way, you're going to have to do the same thing. You're going to take these little plastic plugs off, pop them out. Easy with two hands. I got a camera in the way as well, so. Yeah, all the other things in the way, the lights, camera, stool I'm sitting on. Usually once you get this undone, if you're gentle with it, hopefully it's not too brittle, you can kind of just peel it back here a little bit. I was thinking if it's cold, it might break. Although I guess if you were in some hot climate like Arizona too, it might be pretty brittle, so you want to be careful and know that you might break it. If breaking it is a concern, maybe continue. There's more clips underneath. Take the whole piece off. Now there's this shield here that we want to get out too, and it's got a couple bolts. That actually looks like one's missing. We'll try and get that off. Looks like it's probably a 10 millimeter. There should be another one there. I don't know if it fell out. Somebody's had this off before, I guess. We'll see what we can do with that. Oh, there's a clip here in the front too. And this just kind of helps shield the belt from stones and from snow, if you have snow and whatever else. That way, it doesn't accidentally come off. Because, if you have like a stick or something go in there, it may derail the belt. I guess might be the wording. So we get this bolt off. Not the easiest thing. I probably should have a little longer extension. Plus I'm holding the camera with the other hand. Two hands would be a little easier here. But once we get it off, I'll show you what's behind here. Of course, make sure that your vehicle's on jack stands. Keep everything safe. Eye protection is always a good thing too. This is a long bolt. I don't know why it has to be so long. I'm going to use this little tool here. I'll put this link in the description too. It's a little thumb ratchet, I guess you want to call it. Finger ratchet. Just for some of these places that are harder to access. They come in all sorts of different sizes too. This is a 3/8 drive. Finally. There it is. It's out. There should be two bolts there. That's what that looks like. Take this last clip in the front off. And there's our access to our belts. Right here is the water pump, that pulley right there. And here's one of the lower rat hose, I guess. And this other one too is some type of a smaller rat hose, maybe your heater core. So we'll have to get those off too. But if you note right here, okay, there's a better picture of the water pump right there. Once we get the belt off, And I didn't even get to that point because look at this little idler pulley wheel here. See this? There's a little stone in there. It's like, what the heck? So let's get that out first. And it's amazing because I wouldn't have seen that. It could have been on the other side. Just amazing where it stopped. Of course, with the accessory belt off, I would have spun it and I would have seen this. That was the whole problem. This little stone was causing the belt to just squeak a little bit, jump up and down a little bit, which would be moving the tensioner, which would be making some rattling. Take a listen. And you'll have to just take it for granted that I'm telling you it sounds normal now. Let's watch my fingers here. Otherwise, we would at least you know where your pump is there. It's that easy, so I'm just gonna put everything back together. Glad I didn't have to do a water pump after all, although it would have been a good video. You can check out the playlist, I'm sure, on the Grand Caravan that I have, or the few that I have. My boss got a couple I usually work on too, help him out. There'll be a water pump video coming up there very soon. There isn't one actually today. This is 2024 of July, but one day, one of the vans water pump will go and we'll have to do it. Now we're going to try and put these bolts back in as well. And there's one missing, so I'm going to have to see if I can get another one. Something with the same thread pitch, all that kind of stuff. Maybe some kind of metric threads. Nice to know what those threads are. Maybe what I'll do is I'll put a link up on the top right hand corner right now. You can see it with a little clip as to what the bolt threads are in case you need to get one. It's some kind of an M, I don't know what it is. It could be an M8, it could be an M, I don't know. I'll try and put a link up there anyway. And if you lose one, which happens all the time, that's the one I'm replacing it with. And what I ended up doing is putting a washer in there because I didn't like how small it was holding the plastic. I did that off camera. Once we got that in there, I didn't bother. I just went to a parts store to get that bolt. Hardware store could work too. Get that all set up back together. If you would like more videos on this van, top right hand corner, I'll put a playlist. I'm going to use some fluid film here for the threads just so that they don't rust. Usually this gets all wet later on. It's probably access to the top of the bolt through the other side of this, what do you want to call it? Frame rail or something. Water will get in there, so this is going to maybe protect it for the next time we need to take it off. I won't break the bolt. And that's, I guess, going to do it. You can subscribe if you would like as well. I usually have videos coming out every week, or we try anyway. Check out the playlist. There's lots on the Grand Caravan and other vehicles as well that you may have. Some of these actual repairs can work on other vehicles too, just maybe different bolts and a little different procedure. Yeah. This, you might have to, I stuck a little pin in there to try and line it up. Very hard to get the hole exactly where you need it. So this worked out pretty good. A little pick tool. Tried to line it up, tried to hold it, and then put the screw back in. It worked pretty good. Have to do the same to the top one. But once you get that in, and again, you'll have to line that top one up a little bit. These are just like a sheet metal screw into plastic, so they don't have to be too tight, that's for sure. Then once we get that on, get the rest of those little clips popped back into the plastics. Then it'll be time to put the tire back on. Let's see where these are. So there's one down there. There's two up here. We'll just quickly put them in. Fairly easy to do. Do these top ones as well. Don't want to forget them. A lot of times these clips, or whatever you want to call them, strip. So you might have to get some replacements. Bring an old one to maybe a parts store. A lot of times they'll have some generic ones, a lot cheaper than going to the dealer. Then retorque your wheels to 104 foot-pounds, and then you want to check them, within 50 miles or so. Appreciate you watching and spending some time with me. Thanks for watching. See you next time. All right, let's try it again. Oh, come on.